We are the Queensland Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Foundation, QATSIF. QATSIF pays respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders, Australia's First Nations people. Specifically, QATSIF honours Queensland Elders, past, present and in the future. From a small fledgling program which began with the first scholarships in 2010, now 3 years and 1,500 scholarships later, in over 140 secondary schools in Queensland, QATSIF opens up round 5 of the QCE QATSIF Scholarship Program. From the 1890s until the 1970s, the Queensland Government controlled the wages and savings of Aboriginal Queenslanders who worked under the Protection Acts. Some workers lived on settlements and missions, and their wages were paid in rations, shelter and some cash. Other workers were sent to work for employers, and their wages were paid into a savings account held by the government. The past practice of governments and employers withdrawing wages from Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people continues to be a source of pain for them. The Queensland Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Foundation, QATSIF, was set up by the Labor government in 2008 to be funded by the interest on unclaimed funds from this money which the government had set aside. QATSIF has resulted in better outcomes for many Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students and given financial relief to their families. QATSIF has also been able to create the QATSIF story so that our scholarship recipients, as well as non-Indigenous young Queenslanders, can learn about this sad history of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples in our state, and indeed the whole of Australia. In schools as far north as Thursday Island, west at Mount Isa, Longreach, Charleville, Colomulla, and all the way down the Queensland coast and in between, over 140 secondary schools now have students on QATSIF scholarships. QATSIF schools are in the state education system, independent sector and Catholic sector. Let us introduce you to Claudia Moondanuthi, a young Bentinck Island woman who left Clayfield College at the end of 2012. Claudia is now doing art at Griffith University and is a recognised national and international artist. It was with the support of the QATSIF scholarship that she first took a photography course as a subject. Talents and confidence as a photographer then led Claudia in Year 11 to take up a paintbrush for the first time. QATSIF can introduce you to Chinchilla High School students who had not been to Brisbane and who begged their teacher to bring them down for the QATSIF New Scholarships Recipients Breakfast in February. The teacher said she would if they were up and ready by 3:15 a.m. They were, and here they are. QATSIF can introduce you to Nakia Raymond, the first female Indigenous student to hold a school captain position at Longreach State High School. Nakia only came to the school at the beginning of 2012 and never considered running for school captain until she went on a leadership camp at Emu Gully. There she shone like a bright star as her outgoing personality helped the group come together. How great that a QATSIF scholarship supports Nakia. QATSIF can introduce you to Emily Foster from Mary MacKillop College, who writes and sings her own songs. Emily wrote a wonderful song called Tapsticks. The song is about her grandmother returning home after being forcibly removed. Emily has told us that her nan was called home by the sound of the tapsticks.
Walk with me and the sound of the tapsticks bring me back home where I'm protected and I'm not alone. Walking around bare feet reminds me what freedom felt like to be, and roaming the streets I look over my shoulders, they judge me stereotypically.
QATSIF proudly introduces you to Elder Auntie Ruth Hegarty, the author of 3 great books, Is That You, Ruthie?, Bittersweet Journey, and Jack's Story. Auntie Ruth lives in Brisbane and had been on the original Stolen Wages Committee fighting for the return of all the allocated funds to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Last year, Auntie Ruth accepted the role of patron of QATSIF, saying, "As a member of the Stolen Wages, our fight for justice, though not completely successful, and challenge to government fell on deaf ears. The loss of wages created considerable stress for our elders, who felt that they had been robbed, considering the years spent in employment and sometimes far away from families. To be denied their full entitlement was a great insult." Auntie Ruth goes on to say, "In support of all unclaimed monies, I believe the move to set up the foundation by government is a way of making sure our children benefit and achieve greatness in higher education, of which we, the elders, were deprived." Says Auntie Ruth, "If QATSIF benefits the future of emerging doctors, lawyers, teachers and sporting men and women, the outlook is promising. I am an avid believer in the power of education, plus the importance of learning from elders who bring knowledge of country, culture and community. Thank you, Auntie Ruth, for your wisdom." Pictured with Auntie Ruth is Professor Cindy Shannon, the chair of the QATSIF Board of Advice. It is fitting that QATSIF is led by someone who demonstrates leadership, wisdom and a passion for better educational outcomes for her people. QATSIF congratulates schools where gaps in learning experienced by young Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students and all students are given priority. It only takes one staff member in a school who engages with a child to motivate that child to succeed. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students are quick to identify the one staff member who believes in them and in whom they can trust. This applies to all children, really. QATSIF congratulates all teachers, teacher aides, liaison officers, CECs, principals, deputy principals and guidance officers who give so much to your students. QATSIF encourages parents of scholarship recipients to stay in communication with your school and feel valued members of your school community. QATSIF encourages students to appreciate the injustices of the past in relation to stolen wages. We hope that, as some students have already said to us, that you will look upon your ancestors as spirits walking with you through school and you won't want to let them down. QATSIF hopes that philanthropy and corporate funding will eventually replace the current funding for our scholarships. If you know of anyone with money to give away, please don't hesitate to send them to the QATSIF office so that there can be even more young Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders on QATSIF scholarships. We give voice to one of our QATSIF scholarship students, Flavian Broom, Alexandra Hills State High School. QATSIF is great. QATSIF has taken the worry out of my school life and made my educational goals easier to achieve. Mum and I don't have to worry about the expenses associated with education like uniforms, school fees and excursions. I would never have had access to the school laptop without this scholarship, and now I'm just like everyone else. Students, be proud of your school like these boys from St. Teresa's at Abergowrie.
And I Ngampo la calma na watu kungachi. Ngampo la ngulkama. Here.
Yeah.
It's the Gary Boys.
Yeah.
Ah.
It's the Gary Boys. And Jamie Lee Wilson.
Yeah.
This is tomorrow's heroes.
As I sit and reminisce about my childhood days,
I remember as a little boy I used to play.
Back then, it was all fun and games.
But time flies, and now you notice things have changed.
Now I go to college, see things I never seen before.
So in my mind I was thinking I just wanna go, cause I didn't know.
But in my heart and soul I found out that this is my home, away from home.
getting up in the morning, putting my uniform on. I'm trying to play it cool, but I'm missing my home.
Getting an education to be a better man.
So later in the future, my kids will understand.
These things weren't easy and life ain't fair. If you don't dare to dream, you won't get anywhere. I'm proud to be a Gary boy, so we can share this message with the rest of the world.
We are one. We are tomorrow's heroes. We are our brothers.
May each of you value the legacy of the sacred toil of your Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander ancestors and strive for the best education possible. In the words of poet Oodgeroo Noonuccal, may you all strive for a glad tomorrow.
You fella, what's the time of the day? Walking to hell, will it be okay? Eyes wide shut, cause I'm afraid. And all these thoughts invading my brain. Ooh, ooh. And the time of the day is night time. And the time of the day leaves me awake. And the time of the day, it's scary. I'm running from something, I'm not supposed to be afraid. And the wake of the morning arises me. Great spirits, come and walk with me.